Well, good evening, everybody. It's Zero. Welcome back to History Buff Reacts, and today we are taking a look at Animals in Space: A Brief History by Salmonella. Now, I know some of the animals that went into space. There was a dog, there was a chimp, and that's about it. That's all I know of. Apparently, there's more. Don't know who they are. Don't know what they are. Don't know who sent them up. Don't know what they were sent up in. Literally no idea. So this should be interesting for two reasons. One, apparently there's more animals that went up in space than that. And two, it's salmonella. It's going to be interesting. So, it's just going to be straight up interesting. So, get yourselves comfy. Let's go.
Hey kids,
Hi,
animal
Sam.
test subjects have always been an important facet of science, since they allow us to study physiology in more destructive ways than we could get away with on humans. So it should come as no surprise that, over the years, there's been a lot of creatures haphazardly thrown at the cosmos against their will. Here's a bunch of smelly animals that achieved more in their short lives than you ever will. Quick disclaimer, this is by no means a comprehensive list, not even close, we'd be here all day if it was. More so just a highlight reel of the ones I found the most interesting. So the Great Zoo in the Sky was first founded in 1947 when the US launched a craft containing a bunch of fruit flies 68 miles into the air in order to see what kind of horrible mutants would get made from all the cosmic radiation up there. Unfortunately, they were totally fine, so the Earth was like, hey, living things can go into space and not die instantly, supple. And the next year they decided to send up a rhesus macaque named Albert, which it seems kind of like jumping the gun to go from barely alive specks to basically a person in one step. If it were me, I would have thrown like a frog or a gerbil in between there, but whatever, I'm no cosmopolitan. Anyway, Albert died of suffocation on the way up and never really made it to space alive. Fun fact, this rocket was actually a V-2 missile stolen from the Germans after World War II. So just in case any of you have any sympathy for those Nazi characters, they're technically responsible for the death of a poor innocent space monkey. Pretty condemning if you ask me. But I guess the US felt pretty bad about it, so they decided to deal with their grief by naming the next monkey Albert 2. Pretty unhealthy coping mechanism according to my shrink, but she also thinks Punk is dead, so what does she know? This Albert actually made it into space alive through a grand effort incorporating all the incredible cutting-edge technology that the atomic era had to offer. And after all that, they goofed on the parachute, so Albert 2 turned into a fine red mist on impact, which just goes to prove the age-old adage, you can lead a monkey to space, but you can't make him land. There were a few more Alberts after this. Albert 3 fucking exploded, Albert 4 made it up, but he had another tissue paper parachute what don't work for heck, so he's out. Albert 5, yet again, bad chute, liquefied on impact, until finally, in 1951, on Albert number 6, they figured out how to make a big blanket that consistently makes you not immediately die when you fall from the sky. The monkey was recovered alive from the capsule, alongside his 11 mouse roommates. Of course, he died 2 hours later, but hey, still counts. Earlier that same year, Russia launched 2 little...
Hold on. Right, so they sent 5 monkeys up. They all died, and the 6th one survived because they'd actually figured out the parachute. Just... No, I was going to say something, but I don't know. It's just... I don't know. I don't know.
Pupniks named Tsigan and Dizzy, both of whom came back unharmed. These two were the first vertebrates to ever leave Earth and come back alive. Then in 57, the Reds snagged another achievement by putting the first living thing into orbit, besides the bacteria clinging to Sputnik 1, but they're losers, we don't talk about them. Specifically, they launched one brave and daring dog from the streets of Moscow, probably the most famous animal to ever go into space. You know its name well. That dog is, of course, Airbud. Unlike those other guys we talked about, Laika was never planned to be recovered intact, since we barely knew how to put something into orbit by this time, let alone bring it back. But they still wanted to make sure she stayed alive long enough to at least reach space. So before the mission, they put her through the most rigorous canine space camp that Russia had to offer, throwing her in a centrifuge for a while to get her used to G-force, making her cage progressively smaller to get her used to cramped spaces, which made her just not shit anymore at all, but that's a different story. They also switched her diet to a special high-nutrition gel that she would have eaten after takeoff. You know, had her brain not crapped out from overheating within the first few hours. In '59, the US strapped 2 monkeys to the nose cone of a Jupiter missile and actually got them back alive afterwards, which is crazy mostly because these things withstood 38 Gs of acceleration. For context, that's the force that makes even trained pilots lose consciousness times 4, or this thing times 12, or roughly the same forced experience when you realize that's not a normal speed bump, but one of those evil tiny ones that ruin your life. You know the ones. Well, that's what you get for doing 25 near a hospital, Sam. Well, hey, good thing I'm already here considering the ballistics test that just went down between the roof of my car and my frickin' skull. Jesus. So in '61, we graduated from monkeys to great apes, sending up a chimpanzee named Ham. Remember Space Chimps? Yeah, it was that. Frame for frame, Andy Samberg and all. What's special about Ham is that he was actually trained to pull levers and slap buttons while up in the ship, being rewarded banana pellets for completing tasks and getting his feet tased whenever he messed up. Sounds like a cartoon, I know, but I promise it's for real.
Hold on, he got his feet tased. I don't remember that bit. I know of that monkey, and then, you know, I knew that he did tests up there. I also knew that he got rewarded. I didn't realize they tased his feet, though. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. That's dodgy as hell.
Meanwhile, the Soviets were busy putting a big, bald, smart ape into orbit, no big deal. France saw the US and Russia sending up monkeys and dogs and felt left out, so in '63 they launched a cat into space, and we're like, yeah, that's cool and unique. I'm one of the popular kids now. In '68, the Soviets saw the rabbit making rice cakes on the moon and said, how about a tortoise for that hare, launching 2 of them into deep space, all the way around the moon and back to Earth, where they were recovered alive after their capsule landed in the ocean. Kinda cheating when you are your own crash suit, but an impressive feat regardless. In '73, we put mummy chogs in space. What's a mummy chog? It's one of these things. Like a fish, but real rough and tumble. Tolerates low oxygen, weird pressure, high salinity, dishwasher safe, Energy Star rated, you name it, sister. At first they could only swim in circles, but after a couple weeks, they actually adapted to 0G and figured out how to maneuver properly. Even more interesting, we also brought mummy chog eggs, and when these hatched, the little mummy choglets knew how to swim in 0G immediately. Kinda spooky, honestly. That same mission also sent up some spiders, who managed to spin some webs. Trash webs.
That's kind of interesting. I wonder how that worked. Like, you were birthed in space. Actually, to be fair, this is something that they've been looking into genuinely anyway. The whole, you know, giving birth in space, what difference will it make to a human who's birthed in space? I didn't realize the fish that were birthed could swim in 0G. I didn't actually know that. That's okay. Interesting.
Mind you, but hey, they managed. In '78, The Muppet Show aired Pigs in Space for the first time. In '85, we cut off the arms of a bunch of newts and set them up to see if they grow back the same way. The reasoning behind this being, if a newt can't grow stuff back, then an astronaut with a paper cut probably can't either. Fortunately, they rearmed themselves at the normal rate, so all's good on that front. Around the same time, NASA actually had talks with Sesame Street about sending Big Bird up on the space shuttle as a publicity stunt. This is real. The plan ultimately fell through after they realized Big Bird is fucking giant and unwieldy at all times, literally the worst possible choice for a celebrity cameo on a space shuttle. So instead they sent a school teacher in his place. And then the Challenger fucking exploded.
Yep.
Let me reiterate. There is a timeline not too far from this one where Big Bird is a casualty in the single worst astronautical disaster in history. A tiny evil part of me almost wishes that happened. Like, that's just so indescribably absurd. In the early 90s, we set up some baby jellyfish to grow up in space just for laughs. They figured out how to maneuver just fine, but when we brought them back down, they literally didn't have a concept of gravity and couldn't orient themselves properly in their new environment. Which, being a jellyfish is the easiest thing there is. You just kind of exist, maybe squirm a little now and then. So when you manage to somehow mess that up, you know things have gone seriously wrong. In 2003, the US sent up a bunch of invertebrates, including silkworms, spiders, carpenter bees, and harvester ants. Whoops, they exploded. In '07, some tardigrades went up, totally exposed to the vacuum of space for 10 days, which, surprise, surprise, they were fine. On that same mission.
Yeah, tardigrades are just, they're nature's tank. Literally nothing we do to tardigrades can really kill them. You know, that's not true. We can kill them, but by anything natural, we just can't. They're literally nature's tank. They're tiny, absolutely tiny, but they're just, if they can survive the vacuum of space, you know how strong they're. If they can survive the vacuum of space, you know that they're strong. You know that they're pretty much indestructible.
And a cockroach gave birth, creating the first organism that we know of to ever have been conceived outside of Earth. And finally, in 2018, Elon Musk sent a big basket of mice to the International Space Station. Just, you know, 'cause he can. So those are just a handful of God's creatures who got to experience the majesty of not knowing up from down. If you're like me, you're probably a little jealous. Why does an ugly ape get to go into space, but I don't? I wish to bear witness to the music of the spheres firsthand, in a way that a lower creature could never appreciate. You know why you feel like that?
Okay.
Because you're a nerd. And what better way to fill that space-shaped space in your shriveled nerd heart than a vast collection of high-quality documentaries? That's why you need to try Curiosity Stream. Curiosity.
I never felt so attacked in my life. I'm not a nerd. I'm a bit. Oh dear. Well, that was good. Enjoyed that. Generally didn't realise they'd sent all those animals up. See, you can learn history on YouTube. Just, I'm not sure if someone that's really the best place, but if you want random history knowledge, he's got it down pat. And that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to press those like and subscribe buttons, and also hit that bell so you know when I upload, and also keep an eye on the community page of the channel. If you did enjoy that and you want to see more, check it over here. You will see the most recent video apart from this one at the very top, and down below that you will see the whole History Buff Reacts playlist of all the History Buff videos I have done on this channel. And also check down below for the links to both my Discord and my Twitch. I do stream over there. I don't really have a schedule, but I do stream. But this has been Animals in Space, A Brief History by Salmonella, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.